everybody, and welcome to Run to the Hills podcast. This is episode 40. Gary's age.
No.
How are you, Gary? Are you jittering with pre-race nerves? Is it all you can think about?
It is all I can think about, actually, which is probably not too healthy. But, you know, I feel okay, actually. All haze in the barn, as they say. There's no...
Very agricultural of you.
I feel pretty good. Looking at the training and stuff like that, you could have done more, but not to kind of actually still have a wife and family to come home to every night and stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel.
And you're not injured. You're healthy. No. You're hungry for it.
Yep, very hungry.
I think you've done amazing, especially with like conditions and stuff. Like you've had to jam pack your sort of recce's into a couple of months.
End of March, yeah.
And you've been like committed to that every weekend.
Do you think I'll have like race as it you kind of get that
PTSD.
Down afterwards. Yeah, because I'm not going over there every week.
Well, I did wonder that. That was going to be one of my questions today was like, what are you going to do afterwards? Because the come down is going to be quite real. And also what we're going to talk about because...
Well, I'm right back into... I've got St. Cuthbert's Way Ultra, so that's 100k.
Oh, you're doing that? Oh, I've got a client going off to recce that in a week or so. Do you want him to make some notes for you?
Yeah. Is it boggy? That's all I need to know. Boggy.
Well, you need to make it to the, you need to make it across before the tide comes in, don't you?
Well, yeah, that's a bit of a worry. If my legs are a bit kaput after Bob Graham round, but right. I think, if I'm feeling rough, I'll just go on the other wave. So I've got more. So I do an earlier start and then you've got longer to get to the Holy Island. But yeah, it'll be all right. It's just good to be out running again, isn't it, really?
So how are you dealing with this week?
Like today, just be an easy jog with the dog to work and back. I was going to do my classic 2 mile at marathon pace, but I might just do strides instead. I'm not going to gain anything, I don't think, now from it. Do the core work, but just body weight instead. I did notice because I've started doing my kind of exercises just without any weights. They're so easy. Sit-ups without having a kind of a medicine ball. It's really easy. Side planks without the weight on my side or anything like that. It's like, my goodness me, this is
so strong.
Strong as an ox, yeah. So, and that's it really, just easy miles, strides. Like I say, whether I did this 2 mile marathon pace or just a bunch of strides tonight, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, that's it really, just ticking over. I can't have any time off this week, unfortunately, apart from Friday. That would have been nice. Lots of sleep, though. Try and get to bed an hour early, set the alarm an hour late if you have that ability. Not everybody can, but if I can get a good 8 hours, my Garmin tells me you're well rested. So that's good.
I love it that people wear watches to tell them how rested they are. I'm like, can you not, when you wake up? Though actually, every time I wake up, I'm like the living dead zombie. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I've slept more than like 20
And then
minutes.
It says you're well rested.
You are well rested. You're having a joke.
But yeah, what about you? You've been racing, my goodness.
I did a race.
You got a medal. You got a proper medal.
I know. Got a medal. Oh, I had such a great time. Well, I had a great time. My mate less so. It was a race of many emotions. So it was a beautiful day, and we dropped it was like a day to me. It was like a spa day. Oh, yes. We dropped the kids at school. I had to find my race bag. So I can't remember what I told you, but I had done a big volume session, I think, when we talked when we recorded before. So I'd done like 4.5 hours worth of aerobic training, but it was enough to, tire you out. You needed a few cheer charge bars to fuel that. Then I had my taper day, which was a 45-minute run and a 45-minute bike. So I did that all together, all in the morning, and thought I'd give myself a solid 12 hours rest. And when I went for a run, on the day before, I was my quads and stuff. I was like, I think, okay. So I ate all day. I was like, what can I eat next? What can I eat next?
Yeah.
And then, so we sent the kids off to school, packed up my race stuff, had to find my lube, all those important race things, drove down. My mate drove, so didn't even have to drive. She's got this like fancy electric car, which is like basically programmed by a computer screen.
Yeah.
But you can't feel it. So it's like, you remember Knight Rider? She's too young. She doesn't remember Knight Rider.
Oh my goodness.
I know. It's terrible. So we drove down and it was a really cool event right on the lake, like the busiest bit of Geneva. And we had to go and went to this really fancy hotel. They let us in. And pick up our bibs, and we got a bag, and it was all chip timed, even though it was like not all at once. And then they had a proper start with like a gantry and water. And then they gave you a special bag and you could put your stuff into the bag. And then they looked after your bag for you. And there was some lovely lady. This one lady was wetting her pants because in the bag, you know, before you get these goodies in your race bag, and there was this stuff called Cool Gel.
Cool Gel.
I never really look at that stuff in the bag because it's nearly random French stuff. And she was like, "You haven't eaten the Cool Gel, have you?" And I was like, "No." She said, "Oh, the man just before you, he thought it was like a gel, but it's stuff to rub on your joints, muscles." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, he's got such a bad stomachache now." And she was wetting herself laughing so much. Poor guy, never saw him. He probably didn't get to do the race. Anyway, and then you had a time slot where you were able to go off. So we did a little warm up. I was doing it with two mates. One was a little bit slower than us. So we reckoned about 10 minutes slower. So we gave her 10-minute start so we could kind of all finish, all be on the course at the same time. And then we had a little warm up. I was like, "Oh my God, my legs feel really tired." But I was pacing this mate and she wanted to do 1 hour 30. So I didn't sort of go, "Oh my God, I'm not sure I could do 1 mile in that time." So we went off and it was a 5K up one side of the lake.
Okay.
And then you turned around, you did a little trip time at the top, which I thought, that's clever. So you can't turn early because you've got to beep in. Yeah. And then you run around back to the start and then you go 5K down the other end. It was beautiful, but it was quite tricky because it was a bit like Oxford Street with so many people. It was such a beautiful day. So I was there and I said to my mate, "Right, stay on my shoulder. I'll do all the work. All you have to do is just go behind me." But we were sort of going in. There's lots of little marinas, boats coming in and out. Loads of people, people just in the bikinis. So it was a bit tricky and it was hot.
Yes.
So first couple of miles were fine. And then we got up to the turn and I was like, "Take your first gel." And I think this is when it started to unravel a little bit in that, looking back on it, because we had, 130's punchy. You've got to keep moving. It's a tempo effort, isn't it? Yeah. And so every time we had to go down some steps to get onto the path or go around people or we got stopped by cars, I would then pick up the pace to get back on the pace. But because she was on her sort of limit, she couldn't go any faster. So in some ways I was a very bad pacemaker because I think I kept surging. Yeah. And then I'd look back and I dropped her and then I'd slow down. It was hard. It was hard. So, and it was hot. And she was like, "I can't get my breath. I'm too hot." But because I wasn't quite working as hard, I didn't feel that heat. Whereas I know that feeling when you feel sick because you're so hot. So we did about 10K. And then she was like, "I'm just going to have to slow it down a little bit." So I was like, "No problem. Take another gel. Always keep eating." We started on the second loop and I could see my other mate in the distance. So I was like, "I'm going to run onto her and give her a bit of encouragement. And then I'll wait for you. And then we'll see if we can tap this home." And then she was like, "I just feel terrible. I can't take this heat. I'm going to have to walk." So I said,
"Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay. There's nothing you can do." There was nothing I could do apart from annoy her by going, "No, come on." But she couldn't. It just wasn't a day. Yeah. So I said, "Okay, I'm going to tap it home if that's okay, because I've had this massive 12-hour taper."
I've eaten all the food.
I've eaten all this food. I better. So we got to 15K, turned around, and I dropped the hammer a little bit. It was hard because there was just so many people, and you felt slightly COVID unfriendly by going through groups of people going, not sweat. But I haven't felt like the end of a race. When you can see a finish, but it's a couple of miles away and you're feeling a bit tired and you're hot. And I was like, "No, come on, Eddie, put that race face on and focus," which I haven't done maybe for 2 years.
It's weird.
And I loved it. I remembered, oh my God, I love this. This is why I'm a racer. I love it. If only I had someone to race, not all these people having lovely lunches on terraces. So anyway, yeah, finished. And then the best bit of any race, isn't it, is the sitting around afterwards in the sun, run in a rush, an ice cream. And my friend was really super happy because though she hadn't done what she set out to do, she'd coped with the problems, the heat. She'd kept on going, and she's a triathlete, and so she was like, if that had happened, now I know what I need to do, how to sort it. And yeah, they both found it really hot, and I didn't find it hot at all. And I wonder if that's from all the sweating I've done skiing when it was really, really hot, and I had all those layers on, and I was like boiling. I don't know.
I think it's the first race, isn't it? I know London Marathon, quite often people have trained through the winter, and then you get this freaky warm day.
It's hard. It's really hard. But yeah, I felt good. I felt quite excited about the London Marathon. I was like, I reckon I've still got that sub 3 hours in me.
So what was your closing splits then when you ditched your partner?
When I ditched my mate, it's hard to, I think I was easily about what was great was my last mile was my fastest mile by far.
Oh, brilliant.
When I was like, come on then, which I think was about 6:27 minute mile.
Oh, that's very good for that.
So, and I felt like, I mean, I was working hard, but I was like, I could have, if someone said, you got to go and run the mat, you got to do that again. I've been a bit sad because I've been like, oh, really? But so yeah, I think I felt quite emotional really, because I was like that. I've worked my butt off this winter doing all this skiing and stuff. And I've done a lot less running. I've had to be quite brave at doing a lot less running and trusting the process. That
I imagine like you say, you do need to be brave when, as runners, we are so used just to running, but to do the cycling and more skiing, definitely very brave.
Yeah, to do like half that what I normally do, but then to be able to go, I feel way better than I have. So testimony to cross training, trusting the process. And onwards to back on the trails. It's tough.
It's very common in Europe, isn't it? A lot of the athletes do other sports, ski more and stuff like that during the winter months.
Most of them ski. I would say 99.9% of them ski, and then lots of them cycle to supplement, because also we're in the mountains, so cycling, I mean, it's not going along the M25. You're going up and down coals, and it's beautiful and it's hard work. So
what else then? We got any results this week? Well, we did see Damien Hall, coast to coast, new record, 185 miles in 39 hours and 18 minutes, and the old record was Mark Hartley, 39 hours and 36 minutes. So it wasn't like I think it was pretty tight right until the end. There's only... Yeah,
well, I read somewhere that he was 2 hours ahead at one point.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, we're going to speak to him soon, aren't we? Next week.
Are.
And we're going to hear about, I think the sleep monster crawled onto his shoulder pretty hard and was trying to snuggle in.
They do a good job, actually, Innovate. Kept me...
Their social media is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching that. And we've got some other results too. Big weekend for me and my dot watching was the hard miles 110 and 160. And Tim had a team out too, actually, the relay team. Was it Not Fast But Furious? And they came, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure they were second in the relay team.
Stop it, Tim.
Yeah, very good.
I knew he was an elite athlete.
What's all that
cheer charge.
Cross training, CrossFit, sorry. But yeah, my goodness me. So Mark Kearney won the 110 at a time of 22 hours and 20 minutes.
Did you see him finish? He looked as fresh as a daisy.
He's a strong, I know Mark, he's local to me. Very strong runner. And Lindsay Haynes won the ladies race, 27 hours and 43 minutes. And Gareth Pritchard, another guy I know, 160 in 37 hours and 52 minutes. So that's like sub 24 hour pace if he was to do, say, 200 milers back to back. And Kim Cavill, 46 hours. Is that correct? Yeah, 46 hours and 25 minutes. First lady in the 160. So amazing. Well done, everybody. That is fantastic. I really wouldn't mind having a chat with Gareth, actually.
We also had the Grand Union Canal Race, one of Gary's bucket list races, 145 miles from Birmingham to London along a canal path. Alex Werity won it in 23 hours, 25 minutes. That's a fast time. Mel Venables raced her a few times, 29 hours, 17 minutes. And friends of the show, Melissa and Justin Montag, they both ran it, husband and wife. He's a vicar, doesn't run it in his dog colour though. And they both finished, and very emotional pictures of them finishing. I do wonder how they get themselves home. Imagine their house. It'd be like, did you leave it upstairs? Yeah, I left it upstairs. Well, I'm not, we can't get it. What are we going to do? We're going to have to call the neighbour. Hope he doesn't have to do his sermons from the pulpit this week. He's going to be shuffling up there.
Or backwards, yeah.
What a cool vicar. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
What a dude. And then also I saw South Downs Way 100K. This is a new event where they've tried to encourage lots of elite and fast runners to compete all in the same race. There was £5,250 worth of prize money.
That sounds
wow,
good,
so that must be the biggest prize purse ever in a trail race in England.
Yeah, normally it's the prestige of the event.
50,
Harmore's had a massive
quid.
Sword, but to get that kind of cash.
Harry, we could retire.
Is it tax-free when you win money like that? I've never won.
No, well, you can declare it and then declare it as like your business, put it against your business.
Okie doke. Biz.
I think I've only ever won like £25. So that was from Arundel to Eastbourne, 8,000 feet of climbing. Have you ever run along that South Downs Way coast? The Seven Sisters. Have you heard of it?
No.
And it's seven sisters. We call them the seven bitches because they are so steep. These little, you've seen like the White Cliffs of Dover. It looks like that. Yeah. And you can see this lighthouse in the distance.
Okay.
But it's miles and miles away. And these hills, I kid you not, I live in the Alps. They are so steep. Also, my memory is a little skewed because I've only ever raced them at the end of something horrendous.
Yeah.
And so they literally like vertical up, vertical down. But it's beautiful. Anyway, the men's winner, 8 hours, 8 minutes. I can't see his name. James Turner. He's fast. He's a local guy from around there. And Bethan Mel raced her to 9 hours, 26.
Because you look at the elevation there, 8,000 feet, and you don't think it's not too bad, but in the context of just what you're saying.
And also it all comes, I reckon a lot of that comes in. And a lot of it is short and sharp. So you've not got your gradual climb. A lot of that is like short and sharp. So that's exciting. Be exciting to see what happens to that race in the future. I'll definitely be putting in, that'll be my A race.
Yeah. Now that we've given it a shout out, everyone will be doing it.
It's gone viral.
£5,000, my goodness me. That'll be brilliant.
It's my annual earning. Let's talk about the interview this week.
Yeah, I had a great chat actually with Paul Nelson. He's a friend of the show. A lot of the northern-based listeners especially will know who Paul Nelson is. It's a long one, guys. So yeah, get the kettle on.
Save it for your long run.
Yeah. We just nattered away. It was brilliant. Get the kettle on, or get off for your run.
Get out there. 20 miles. Here we go.
He's our chat with Paul Nelson.
Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Run to the Hills podcast, and thanks to Chia Charge for sponsoring the show. Chia Charge is about people having real food on the go that is made from ingredients you have heard of, and they taste great too. They are part of the 1% for the Planet charity, and that means they give 1% of their sales, not profit, to environmental charities they believe in. If you like the sound of this, then head over to www.chiacharge.co.uk.
Right, hi, I'd like to welcome Paul Nelson to the podcast. A lot of our listeners will know who you are, Paul. You've been a guest on the show, my goodness, all the way back on episode 4, I think. But for non-Northerners and new listeners, could you share a bit about yourself and maybe how you got into running trails and ultras?
I basically got into it as I'm ex-military. I spent most of my adult life in the military. And then when I got out, I found I needed challenges.
Yeah.
And I'm from a mountain biking, hill walking background.
Okay.
And I sort of obviously ran through the military, and I sort of fell into it that way. And then once I realised what sort of challenges are out there, then it was, I just got the bug, just pushing myself and seeing where I could put myself and how much pain I could put myself in before my body gave up. And fingers crossed, it's still going. So we'll see what happens.
And you're immediately hooked as soon as you kind of found the kind of trail running side of it.
Yeah, because it ticked all my boxes. You know what I mean? You're pushing, you're challenging yourself. You're out in lovely scenery, and also the people I sort of met along the way. Even from the first sort of introductions were the Hardmore stuff. Just meeting, maybe not so much when I'm racing, because I'm pretty pretty focused when I'm racing generally. But when you finish and just having a crack with people at the end.
I love the chat at the end, and the catch up at the beginning too. Like you say, all different maybe abilities, and when you're racing, you kind of see your kind of people that you're racing with.
Yeah.
But the beginning and the end. And was it always trails? A lot of people do maybe a park run and they hit the roads and stuff like that. Then they kind of think, oh my goodness, the trails.
No, see, I love running full stop. So to be honest, whether I run on road, trail, hills, mountains, I'll be honest, I enjoy all the facets of running. But my heart lies particularly off-road and in any form it comes in. But I just like running, so and I sort of enjoyed it, but I just enjoy being outside really, and in my own little thoughts. I just like it. So, but trail, off-road definitely. What's there not to love? It's just a variation all the time. It's never the same.
Oh, I think I mentioned on a previous podcast that, I love the trails. But sometimes in a race, I get to the end and it's like, I've missed everything that was really nice about this place. And I think I enjoy the training in the recce's sometimes more than the race, because you can kind of take it all in. There's trail marathons and another Hardmore stuff for never 26.2. But is any preferred distance? You go really long or?
Really long is probably depends, isn't it? And there's certain I don't really revisit races very often, but there's certain ones I will go back to because it's like I say, it's because I know the people that I'll be entered will always enter the same race, but partly just because I enjoy the scenery and I enjoy the route. But longer's, if I'm going to race in my head, longer's better because I'm 54 now, so my speedy days of when I was doing really well on the Hardmore marathon sort of side. I don't really. I hate doing speed sessions. I really do. And I know if you want to do well at them, so it's a necessity. I mean, even for what I want to do, I know I need to do park runs and stuff. But do you know what I mean? I just, the longer the better because I feel I can. I don't have to. When I say not train, but I don't have to. Bust a massive lung to achieve what I want to achieve.
So what would a tip? Yeah, you're talking about training. What does a week look like for Paul Nelson?
I'm trying to. I always work on the principle that movement's the key, and I've said it time and time again to lots of different people. So, however, the idea for me is, I was just trying to do 40 miles a week running wise. However, I did it. But I've just sort of upped it now to 60. But if I don't get 60, it's not important. It's just I just try and do 60 a week, and I probably maybe just have one rest day in that. But a lot of the time I go out, I'm on my own, but it's not fast. And if I get a hill, I'll just walk up the hill. If I want to do any speed work, then I'll just try and bash out a 6 mile on the roads where I live. Yet again, it's where I live. There's nothing flat where I live, so even on the roads, you've not got big ramps, but there's always something. There's always a hill. You're always working on something. There's nothing. It's really hard to get a flat route where I am. So, but that's what I try and do. But then every day, no matter what, I've got my dogs to walk. And I've got my little son, and he goes out on the pram with me. So every day I do generally a minimum of a 3 mile walk with the dogs and the little fella in the pram. So I do that anyway.
That's probably fantastic when you think about the really long stuff where there is a lot of hiking, a lot, say a lot of walking, and you're going up and down hills mixed in with some running and stuff like that. So kind of unwittingly, it's probably perfect.
Well, I've always said it. It's just, when people ask you, I just say it doesn't matter how you move forward as long as you move forward, because you're out for such a long time. There's highs and lows. You can't get away from it. you know, how seasoned you are, it doesn't matter. How mentally prepared you are, you're always going to have a low. You just can't, it's something that you just got to accept. It's going to come and just deal with it when it comes.
You know, I've got myself kind of in a little tunnel of trying to do as much elevation as possible. But where I live, you know, I've got to travel to get that elevation. Is that something that you track, or you just...
I don't track it. I don't track it as such. I track mileage more than anything else. But because of what I was doing with the Runderdome, which was where I was trying to make things as flat as I possibly could bar one of the events.
Yeah.
I've now, because I've got something coming up that I really want to do well at in July, I'm now trying to get elevation in it. And every shape, any chance I get, I'm trying to get elevation in, because if you don't do it a lot, you get, not that you get weak at it. And I'll be honest, it's not actually the elevation, it's the descending. People always have this... I honestly believe people get this wrong. They keep going on about elevation. Yeah, you've got to be able to walk up it with a purpose.
Yeah.
But you're not looking at fell running where you have to smash up it running wise. Especially like, if you're Bob Gray and what else. But the descending absolutely trashes your legs.
Oh my goodness. Well, I remember we both did Lakeland 100 in 2017.
Yeah.
And I've seen some pictures of you in Ambleside in agony. And I think, I'm not going to lie, I think I'd done my quads in coming out of Coniston, going down the big bank at the first checkpoint. And I just felt a little kind of ache in my legs. I thought I shouldn't have done that too early.
My legs on that one, and it was my second one, and my legs at the end by Ambleside, they were rock solid. My friend Rachel, she's the one. She went, "Oh my God, I've never felt quads that tight." They were like, she couldn't dig into them. They were just solid. I was running to Chapel Stye on that flat bit, alongside the river. Yeah. And the only way I was moving forward was because I was virtually going to fall over. I was leaning that far forward that the fact that my legs were pushing in front of me was giving me momentum to run. I was in absolute tom. I don't even want to speak about my quads, but I was in absolute bits. And it's actually sending. It just, it just so much damage. And that, to everybody, that's why I get annoyed's not the right word, but I keep saying to people, it's the descending that you've got to condition yourself to. The ascending, you walk fast, but you don't have to kill yourself going up. But the downhill, because automatically you think, I'm going downhill, I should be running. Yeah. And that's how you think, because you're going downhill. But it does, if you don't get yourself conditioned for that,
it takes its toll.
And then when you hit the flat, what it is, and that's what I say, is you have a natural sort of running gait when you're on the flat and your legs spin in a certain way. Yeah. But when your quads go and the little adductors go, that lift your legs up. Yeah. You can't do that. Yeah. So then not only physically you're affected, because you're not running comfortably, mentally you're affected. It's like a double whammy. Yeah, and then you're right. Especially in the log races, it really plays into your head. You go, and you just feel so uncomfortable. And
I just remember like the Lakeland 100, Mardale Head. I think I started to encounter problems, and mentally fine, physically fine, but my legs were just shot.
It was Mardale Head for me as well. And the worst thing I remember, and I just got out of Tibberthwaite and I was still in 9th position, and I was struggling, really, and I could climb all right, so I climbed up onto the top. And I was shuffling round the sort of top of the top of the sort of quarry, and as I got round there, a bloke overtook me, and I can't remember his name. I do know him, and he's a hell of a monster runner. He is a real good runner, and he overtook me, and I was like going, and I was in my head, I was fuming because we only had sort of 2-3 miles to go. Yeah. And then I come around the corner, and just before as we started to drop down, Jamie Hawkswell caught me.
He got me too.
And he's a lovely bloke, you know what I mean? And he's going, "Come on, Paul, run with me. And I'm going, and my legs were just jelly, doing nothing. I'm going, "Mate, just go. Just leave me. Leave me in my pity. Leave me wallowing in myself." And he just legged off, and I did well. Don't get me wrong. I think I still finished. I won my age category. I was first male 50, but even so, just getting overtook twice at them with 2 miles to go. Yeah. Mentally, I was fuming at myself. I was like finger pointing and and all the usual sort of stupid stuff you go through. But I could not do anything. My legs were just like
What a magical event though, eh? The Lakeland 100. What a brilliant.
Oh, it's brilliant. And I love it, when you get to the end and you're in the tent. And I was very lucky that Lucy, my partner, we had loads of beers. And so we just sat up in the tent drinking, just cheering every coming in till about 2 in the morning, I think it was. It was brilliant. great atmosphere. Really
well, that's
good.
another. It gives you a real kind of perspective of time. Actually, I think I went back to the hotel, showered, had my evening meal, and we were staying in Ambleside, and we were sitting down in the restaurant or pub, and we could still see 100 runners and 50 runners going past, and it was like, my goodness me, what an event. I'm just curious. Any other events that stand out memories for yourself?
There's a race I did, which is part of the UTMB, which it stands out massively because all these races, a lot of them have taglines, don't they? Spine, the most brutal, and and whatever. And let's be honest, did he really live up to these taglines? It's about perception. I get it. It's about what you've done before, but I would say not really. When you think about it, when you sit back and reflect on it afterwards, I go, was it really that brutal? Or whatever. Yeah. But at the PTL, it's part of the UTMB group, and it's a brilliant thing. It's not really a race. They say we want to give you an adventure, and that's their sort of tagline. Yeah, and they massively deliver. You massively give you an adventure. It's such a, and you have to do it. They've changed the rules. When I did it, you just had to do it. You could either do it as a threesome or a pair. Yeah. Well, now they've changed it. I think they might have changed it back to pairs again. But last time I looked, you had to be in a 3. Yeah. But you have to have some. You have to have skills. You know what I mean? You'd have to be used to technical terrain. Yeah. You have to carry a climbing helmet, a harness.
Oh wow, this is an adventure.
You have to have spikes. You know, and they take you where the UTMB goes high. Yeah. When you got saying it goes over big passes. Do you know what I mean? Where the PTL doesn't. It takes you on ridge lines. Yeah. Takes you over a couple of peaks. Oh my goodness. And you do some. And it's about, I think it's 300 odd K. It's about 195 miles or whatever. So I think the one we did, because the route changes every year. I think it was 82,000 foot of ascent for us.
Oh my goodness me!
Do you know what I mean? So that's obviously, then you're thinking that's the descending as well, isn't it, on top? Yeah. Yeah. And it was brilliant. I did it with a guy called Andy Jackson, who's, funny enough, Rachel's partner, who did my legs for the 1100. And it was phenomenal. It really was. And you just look back and I look at the photographs and how I felt at the end. And it's only a race I've done. It's not. I say it's a race. It was really weird. You're held within the community in such reverence. It's really strange. I was in the middle of nowhere, and you've obviously got your number saying PTL, and then these people, French, Italian, because you go through France, Italy, Switzerland, and you come back round, and they're going, "Oh, PTL, PTL."
Yeah.
And then they're like literally bowing at you, and then as you come back into coming back into Chamonix, and you join in with the back runners of the CCC, and they're literally falling over their feet to pat you on the back. And
oh my goodness, that sounds amazing.
And then some bloke, we were sort of running into Chamonix. I remember this bloke, he was sort of run past us, realised we're PTL runners, stopped and started taking our pictures and and stuff like that. It was, it was so strange and so surreal. And when we ran in, so you're running through Chamonix, which is brilliant, and you're running through. Yeah. And this poor woman, I always think about this poor woman. We was running along and was getting right to the finish, and she wanted her big CC moment across the line. Yeah. But me and Andy crossed the line, and basically the crowd went mad because PTL finishes, and we took a moment away, and I honestly felt so sorry for her because she basically, nothing happened. She didn't get what she probably deserved. You know what I mean? Because me and Andy crossed the line.
Hey, it happens. I remember a few times when I've come into a village hall after a hard-moors race, and if you time it wrong, they normally kind of fill with applause when a runner comes in, especially when it's a particularly arduous day. But if you're unlucky and you time it wrong, you can just kind of sneak in and under the radar.
But do you know what I mean? And I always think back to that poor woman who finished at the time, and I think, I didn't think much of it at the time. It was afterwards when on reflection, I went, "Oh, that poor woman."
If she's there having the same conversation with somebody else. Oh, there's two guys.
Two guys, bloody hell. But it was running through Chamonix, and all she could hear was people going, PTL.
Fantastic.
It was, honestly, I can't even explain how it felt, running through Chamonix. I've never felt anything like that before. And I've done some good races in the UK, but that was just amazing. It was, to get that sort of atmospheric going through. Yeah.
And was it just the right level? Sometimes, if you do a big city marathon, it's a bit, some people think anyway, it's a bit much. And some small ultras are maybe a bit too small for some people, but it just hadn't seemed to have the right sentiment.
No, I think so. I think the way Chamonix do the business on that front, because basically everybody flocks into Chamonix for that week and they've either on the CCC, the ETMB, or do you know what I mean? So everybody's, and there's all family and friends there of people doing, so they all know what's going on, so they have an understanding, don't they? So it's probably better. I mean, I've done the London Marathon a couple of times, and that's mental to the point where you get miffed. You get when you can get underneath this underpass when there's nobody about and you get that quietness. It's beautiful. You just go, it's like a relaxed moment. You're like, thank God for that. But so it's better than that because it's not. Well, it is actually. When I think about it, it was a bit overwhelming. It was quite emotional actually running through Chamonix with like you say, the reverence that you felt you was held at.
Put that on the long list of races to
well, there's a massive list, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? You could go on forever, couldn't you?
Well, fast forward a bit. You're fresh back from helping Sabrina Vijay on a recent Wainwright's attempt. Now, most of us know it ended prematurely with the weather and then the asthma. But maybe some of our listeners don't really appreciate how bad it was up on the fells. Could you kind of expand on that? What was it like?
Right. Well, I joined in at the bottom of Cat Bells on a sort of the last sort of leg she did before she called it a day. And on the tops, they'd had snow. I mean, you're thinking it's May the 3rd, and they'd had sort of really driving snow. And she was with some really experienced people, and they were in bits, and they only done that sort of that leg with her sort of thing. So it was really sort of But then the weather sort of warmed up a bit. It looked like the weather had improved, and so she come off Cat Bells, and rightly so. She needed a couple of hours to gather herself, dry off, warm up, get some food down her, and we sort of set off. But I think the damage had sort of been done by then. And don't forget, every night it had been really cold, so it had been dropping below zero every night up on the peak, on the tops. And with asthma, obviously, it's been getting on her chest. So, each night she'd gone through, I can only assume, which is not great, but you have to pay for it somewhere, don't you, along the line? And I think there's accumulation of that. So when I joined in, and she was fine. So, but as soon as we hit any sort of incline, her breathing was so shallow and terrible, and she was just hemorrhaging time going up. But the annoying thing was, as soon as we started going downhill, she could really run it at a nice sort of pace, and the movement, considering where she was in the challenge as well, it was really impressive. But she couldn't. The time she was losing going up, she couldn't get back on even though she was running well on the descent, she just couldn't get it back. And then, but it was 5 degrees then, and I was thinking, bloody hell, I might have too much kit on here. I felt really warm, and even at midnight, it's still just below 5 at midnight. And
that's interesting.
And I was going, all right, this is all right. And the rain, it was sort of a couple of showers, but nothing drastic. But then we left, it was at the bottom of Walla Crag, and we set up to go over Walla Crag, and then it's Bleasbury and so on and so forth. Yeah. And then the weather the wind picked up.
Oh, goodness.
It started raining. The temperature really plummeted. So by sort of 3:30, because I had a little temperature gauge, so I knew it dropped down to 0. And then you had the wind, then you had the wind. So then it all started turning into sleet. Then it turned into sort of driving snow. And, and you don't want to, it's hard because you don't want to be negative for her. You're trying to be positive, but she's going to make the call, and she made the call, and it was definitely the right decision by far. But it's the lakes, I always laugh at people. Sometimes I get a bit confused by, I've seen it on the Lake 100. I think the last time it ran, I wasn't marshalling, but me and my partner, we went out because we knew loads of people running it, and we was out. So it was July.
Yeah.
And 3 weeks before then, the sun had been cracking the flags. It had been beautiful, really, really hot. But on the day of the Lakelands, it was torrential rain.
Yeah.
And people going, I wasn't expecting this. I'm going, in my head, I'm going, what are you expecting? It's the lakes. The wind's so changeable. So they had really light waterproof. So they just basically had the right gear to cope with the Lakelands for that particular day.
Yeah.
But you know, you talk about so it's the lakes. Yeah.
We did have a magical April, though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Cold but very dry. I've been over doing leg 1 and leg 2 quite often, and the bogs, say below Calver, they were pretty spongy apart from a few puddles. So
Yeah.
conditions were fantastic until May, and now May has just gone balmy, really.
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew I live just off the Howgills, and Howgills is predominantly, you know, in the shallows. It's quite boggy, but even they dried up, and it was beautiful running weather. You know, as in for the Howgills, where you're just bouncing over the over the fells quite nicely without sinking. Yeah. So it was really nice running. But yeah, it's not like that now. It's back to its normal swelter self.
I'm hoping we get 2 good weeks at the end of May to dry it up for my attempt.
Well, you might. Well, the weather forecast is on and up, so you know, hopefully, fingers crossed.
It is what it is. You know, what can you say? You can't do anything about it. You just got to. One thing, hopefully in June it won't be 0 degrees, and that's one.
No, you can hope on that. I wouldn't guarantee it. But you can hope. There's more chance of it not being than it is being. But even
Saturday's recce, I started off in Keswick, and it was hot. And I remember setting off with my long sleeve top on, a t-shirt, jacket in my backpack, and trousers and bivy bag and stuff like that. And somebody was skipping down Cap Bells with a vest, and I just thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to roast here. But I got to Skiddaw, and I was freezing cold. Every summit was freezing. And leg 2, once you kind of get up Clough Head, you're kind of up really for that.
You're up, yeah.
And just got battered and progressively got worse and worse all the way to Helvellyn.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a normal leg 2, to be fair.
Yes.
I have, generally speaking, when I do Bob Graham supports, leg 2 is what I predominantly do.
Yeah.
And I've been up in there some horrendous conditions. And I don't know what it is about the Clough Head and the Helvellyn, especially during the night. It just seems to hold the clag. Yeah. You know, I think I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been up there in the night and had clear skies. 9 times out of 10, it's claggy, which is a bugger. Navin's awkward in the clag on the.
Yeah. I could see even my line when I looked at the GPS, wandering a bit around, say, Dollywagon and stuff like that, just trying to hit the kind of top of it. But we'll rewind a bit, actually. 2020, Hardmore's 160 course record. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, well done for one. And a lot of our listeners will know Hardmore's, are kind of familiar with that race series, but some aren't. Could you expand a bit on that, the route and your memory of the race?
I remember because I've done so many Hardmore events. The route I know like the back of my hand. Anyway, you know, in various guises I've ran. Yeah, I must have completed the Cleveland Way in different ways about 10 times now. You know, in different the 60 and the 55 and the 110. You know what I mean? And other races, but basically what it is you start on the top of Sutton Bank.
Yeah.
You basically go through Helmsley twice.
Okay.
Because you run from Sutton Bank to Helmsley, where you join on the route called the Tabular Hills. Okay. Which is a windy little route that takes you to Scalby Mill, which is the top of Scarborough.
Yeah.
And then once you're there, you're on the Cleveland Way, coastal, all the way back, and then all the way back round to Helmsley. And it's, Cleveland Ways, which is a lovely route. I mean, you got all that, you know, the coastal vistas. And,
it's magic.
But for me, I love it when you come inland, you know, and I love, you know, the going up to Rosebery Topping and then the only sort of pimple on it is Bloworth Crossing, which I don't. I'd like to meet somebody who actually likes Bloworth Crossing because it's just horrible, isn't it?
It's not. There's nothing there, but it's not nice.
It's never a fun place to be, Bloworth Crossing. It doesn't matter, you know. So and then you drop down and you've got the 3 sisters of most people, but it's 4 of them, isn't there? You know, after. Yeah, and I love. Do you know what? I love that bit, that bouncing range towards Motherley. I just. That's why I always go back to the 55. I just love, you know, other than the pimple a bit, you know, the. Like I say, the Bloworth Crossing. I love the whole route. I just find it, you know, amazing, you know, just beautiful to do. Yeah. And then obviously just back to Helmsley. It's just there's a couple of bad bits on it for people who've never done the 160. I would say from where you cross over the whole of Hawkham and you run through Derby Forest all the way to Scalby Mills is just hell on earth. Is all I can say. I would say. In fact, I'd rather run 3 times around Bloworth Crossing than run that bit. It is just monotonous, but it's just horrible.
That's
It's
part of the
just
test, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just forestry tracks, through Dolby Forest, big wide forestry tracks.
Yeah.
And it just seems to go on forever, you know what I mean? Because there's no sort of, you're going through forestry, so there's nothing scenic really to see.
Yeah.
And then when you come out of that, you're on road, dropping around road, and then then you hit the river, the river that takes you into Scarborough. It's just, it's just urban running in my eyes. It's sort of like urban running at its worst in its way, Yeah. After everything else you've done, which has been beautiful, and you get that, I think it's about a 10-mile stretch of just, anyway. But other than that, the route's great. It's just, the route can't be great all the way around, can it?
Oh my goodness! If you got 160 beautiful miles, that would be pretty hard to do. I think they do really well, actually. I've never done the 160. I've done the 110, but not the 160. I haven't kind of made the full loop.
It is. It's what I've never done it, and I've done all the rest, and it's the one race I hadn't done, and I wanted the full suit, so to speak. So that's why I said, right, I want to do the 160. I've never done it before, and I knew I'd had a good lead up to it. I just didn't realise how good a lead up I had to it. I'd done some stupid virtual Cockbane events that I'd managed to. Yeah, they just managed to put made me do mileage and made me get out there and do stuff.
Well, we'll fast forward to Cockbane's events. Runderdome winner as well. So you've had a good 2020 and a good 2021.
Yeah,
it looked bonkers. A friend of mine, I'm not sure if you know him, Aaron Gawley.
I know the name, I do know.
Yeah, he told me about it. And I tried to explain the format on a previous show, but I think I probably completely messed it up. Could you make some sense of it?
Right. It's very, right. Basically, 32 people sign up to race. And basically, it's a knockout competition. So each week, Mark Cockbane would set a challenge. It's 5 challenges. I think it was 5 challenges. And each week you would be paired up with another runner. Yeah. But he gave you nicknames. And that was good because you didn't know who you was getting paired up with. So basically the idea in his head, and I think that is the way it should be, is each week, no matter who you're running against, you just do the best you can possibly do for whatever challenge he sets up. So it's Mark Cockbane. Straight away, they're not going to be pleasant challenges. He's going to make it so it's a mental test as well as physical. Yeah, and it'll make it as mundane and monotonous as it possibly can, because that's all part of how he perceives his challenges. And and if you do his challenges, that's what you've got to buy into, because that's what he wants to see. He loves that. He comes across as quite harsh, but when you're doing his events, he's very passionate and he really wants people to achieve his events. Yeah. Even though he only has a few people who do achieve them, he really wants people. He wants to give the medals out. Yeah. But he doesn't want to give them out for free. You've got to pay the ferryman. Yeah,
it doesn't come across. I've never done an event, but it never comes across as suffering for the sake of suffering. It's suffering for the achievement. In the test.
Yeah, and that's everything. But so that's basically it. So each week, he sets a challenge and you just run it as best you can. And if you beat the person you've paired up with, you can go through to the next challenge.
And did you have an idea who the other? I know you all got a nickname, but did you know who'd entered the event?
We all knew who'd entered the event because there's a list of people. Okay. So, and I obviously knew a few. I knew a few names, but they're all. I live up north, so I know northern people. Yeah. So anybody down south who just do southern events, I haven't got a clue who they are. And there was so to be honest, there's only a couple of people that I knew on the list. And then it was trying to work out the nicknames of who they were. But I could have sworn, I don't know why, Adrian Martin was signed up, and I could have sworn he was the quiet man and I thought I was racing against him on the very first challenge. I could have sworn, but I wasn't. And he had, I can't remember his name. I think it was I can't remember his nickname was. But anyway,
and did you get a new nickname every week, or you had your nickname? Okay.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, he just give you a set of nicknames, and that was you then. And until about, I think the last 2 challenges is when he gave you names. You knew he was for the last 2 challenges.
I see. Okay, so there was excellent.
So once you got to the last 2 challenges, he then he let you know who he was. He did let the people who were watching on the sidelines know who he was. until the very last one.
It sounds fantastic. It really does sound fantastic. I don't even know why.
It was a great concept, and as a challenge goes, it was brilliant. The only, if ever a criticism, and it might sound harsh, is when you sign up for a Mark Cockburn event, you know what you're signing up for. And he was quite, this is what we're going to do. And I looked at some of the results, and I just thought some people didn't probably put as much effort into the events as they probably could have done, because they didn't like. Because I love running, but I don't really want to do 100 odd miles on road because bloody hell, it's just painful. I'm 50. Honest, my joints, that's why I love going off road. Is because it gives my joints a bit of respite. A bit squishy ground. It's like there's a bit more cushion, isn't it? I can use. And that's the only criticism is that I know I can honestly say, hand on heart, every event I did as best as I could do. I couldn't do anything more.
So in theory, somebody, say if it was a distance event, for example, someone could literally run 200 miles, but then the other guy could maybe throw in the towel and do 10 miles.
And I wouldn't know until you finished.
Yeah.
And I find that a little bit disrespectful. I can't help it. And I don't know these people's personal lives. And like all of us, we all have outside influences that stop us from doing what we'd really like to do. And I totally get that. So I'm not finger pointing. I'm just saying I found that bit quite, when I signed up to do it, I spoke to my partner and said, right, this is a score. So every weekend, you need to block out that weekend for me because I don't know what he's going to make me do. But it's going to be at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we need to, whatever we've got planned, this is what I'm doing for the next 5 weekends. And Lucy went, yeah. And we factored that in as part of the,
I think I'd have banked on volume. Whatever the challenge was, I think I would have tried to have done as much as I physically could, but within my limitations. And if you got beat, you got beat.
But I mean, there's one person, she got through on a 12 mile. She did 12 miles and got through.
Oh, wow.
Because the other bloke didn't start. Can you see my point, though? I mean, she obviously, I'm not interested in this. I don't want to do this. So she just did 12 miles. She didn't think she was going to get through.
Yeah.
But she did. But the point is, that's my point is you sign up for Mark Cockburn events. He's not going to make them nice and pleasant. He's trying to put you on a back foot all the time, Do
you remember what the challenges were, the weekly challenges?
Yeah, I do, actually. Bloody hell, they're in
nightmares.
Yeah, so the first one was as much mileage you could do in 12 hours.
Okay.
The next was as much mileage you could do in 15 hours.
Yeah.
The worst one was as much mileage you could do in 24 hours, but you was only allowed to run out 0.5 of a mile.
Oh, bloody hell.
The one after that, because that was basically that's when you sort of got your names after that.
Yeah.
The last that was as much elevation you could do in doing 24 hours, which I was like, I was like skipping my woohoo,
Yeah.
And then the last one was as much mileage as you could do in 40 hours.
So you've gone from trying to find as many hills as possible to the flattest.
Yeah. I mean, lucky enough for me, and the worst thing is, it's my worst nightmare of running, is I hate there and backs. I've always hated there and backs. And the only way I could cut, I nearly got knocked out on I would have, looking at the mileage I got on the very first one, the 12-hour one, because what I did was I did 2 big loops around my area. Okay. And then just a couple of shuttles. But because I was doing my ascent, probably compared to everybody else, because I did 2 big loops, was probably, so that my mileage on that very first one wasn't as good. And that's when I clicked. I went, right, I've got to make it so I'm not doing as little ascent as I can. And that's when I clicked. I went, I'm just going to have to do bloody shuttles, find the flattest bit of road I can from my house and just keep going up and down it. Yeah. And that's what I did. Bar the elevation. The elevation one, that itself is awkward because you want something that's going to give you a nice amount of elevation in a short space of time.
Yeah.
But you don't want it so steep that when you run down, your quads blow up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a really awkward thing to do because you have to do it for 24 hours. And each week I set myself a goal. In my head I went, if I'm going to win, if I'm going to beat the bloke, I really need to be around this sort of mileage. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or this sort of ascent. And so the only one I didn't achieve it was the elevation thing. I knew I needed over, in my head, I needed over 10,000 meters of ascent.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it. I got 9,200 or whatever. And I was really disappointed with myself. A few things happened that, you know, it is what it is, you know, but I didn't get it. And I really beat myself up on that. And I only got through on 7 meters. I beat the bloke by 7 meters.
Oh my goodness me.
But that's, you know, like you say, you're just setting what you think is doable, you know, what you think's achievable and what you think would be enough to win.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic.
Oh, it's great, honestly. It's all the type of running that I don't do. So mentally for me, it was a real challenge, and it really, it massively pushed me in a direction I've never been before. So.
And how were you physically? I was going to ask you mentally. Well, you said it was a challenge, but physically after the 5 weeks, did you feel a bit broken or not so bad?
It was all right. The worst thing is on the very last one, I got to about a mile 130 odd. Yeah. And my Achilles pinged.
Oh.
And then I came back in. It was about, and I'd only been running. I basically ran for 24 hours when it went. And I spoke to my partner. I'm going, I don't know what I can do. I mean, I could walk. Yeah. But I was thinking, should I just call it a day? I didn't know whether I was going to do more damage, you know, whatever else. So I really could feel there's a massive big lump at the back of my Achilles, a really huge lump.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went, all right, anyway. So I went out and did another, because I was doing 6 mile, sort of 3 miles there and back, 6 miles.
Yeah.
And I went out and I went, yeah, all right, I can sort of walk and sort of jog it a little bit and do that. So I just kept doing that. And then, I got through, I did 183 in the end. So I did sort of 50 odd miles. Well, I did 50 miles with my Achilles in bits. Oh. So when I finished that, I had to rest. And the worst thing is actually, all my legs, I didn't feel that bad. I walked the dog. I did a 2.5 mile walk with the dogs and Ambrose, my partner, the next day. Yeah. So I was sort of fine on that front. It was just the Achilles. That's the only bit. And all the weeks before, when I finished, I gave myself a day off, 2 days, and I could go out for a jog. I felt I could, so conditioning-wise, I felt all right.
And that was, it's one of my other questions, actually. How do you manage injury prevention? Are you, a regular foam roller, or make sure you get your 10 hours, 8 hours sleep, anything like that? A plant-based diet?
I would love to say that I'm, my body, I treat my body like a temple and I did everything that you're supposed to. I know you're supposed to stretch. I know I should do Pilates. I know I should do a bit of yoga. I know I should do some strength training, some weights. I know I'm not, through my days in the military, I did loads of training. I trained the lads doing physical stuff. So I know what I'm supposed to do. Yeah. Ask me if I do it. Nope. I am absolutely a nightmare for not doing what I'm supposed to do. And it's annoying because I want to. The thing is, I want to do the right things. I think tomorrow I will do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Then tomorrow comes and I've just gone out for a run, and I've just basically come back in and had a pint, whatever, I'm
really jealous.
But I think I've been very lucky that my military the things I've done through my military career has conditioned my body. So, and that's the point. I've been very lucky that I've had good conditioning. So
I suppose that's it. Do you think for these really long events, I was going to ask you about your training for this event, but I think it's impossible to train for an event like the Runderdome, but maybe it is just you mentioned the virtual races, your military conditions, obviously all the hard modes events. Do you think it is just a majority of your life has been physical that you can do this stuff?
I do think so. I do think the fact that I've had a lot of movement in my life in whatever shape or form is definitely, give me what I need to do now. Yeah. But I'm not. When I say I'm not, there's nothing. I've no injuries that stop me from doing what I want to do. But don't get me wrong. When I get up in the morning, there's a lot of pain involved. Yeah. People don't realise that. My joints, my ankles, and my tendons and my ankles have been shot away for years. Yeah. So it's like when I get up in the morning, it's like learning to walk again. I've got 2 prolapse discs. I had them. Oh my goodness. So, and they were diagnosed in 2002. So my lower back, when I get up in the morning, yet again, it's, but I warm up and then everything's fine. So by sort of 10 o'clock in the morning, if I go for a run, even if I go for a run straight away in the morning, I'll start off going, ugh. Yeah. But by the time I've got half a mile into it, my legs have started to move and I'm all right. It's I think there's a bit of acceptance as well.
Yeah.
Accept that, there's going to be a bit of pain, but if it's not show-stopping pain, and it's something you can cope with. I was chatting to my one of my friends running with last night about this, and she said, "How'd you do it?" And I went, "Well, my hips, the first sort of 50 miles, my lower back and my hips are always painful." And then she goes, "Well, does it just go away?" I goes, "I don't know whether it goes away, whether my brain accepts that it's going to be there.
Yeah.
So let's just not think about it." Do you know what I mean? And I think there might be a case of that a bit, where it's just pain you're so used to it being there that your brain stops registering it.
I wonder if other things just hurt more though.
Well, they might. Well, no, because I always find I'm not sort of 50 miles in, I sort of get into a rhythm, and I'm not really feeling the pain. I'm just in a rhythm. I'm just, one foot in front of the other, and you just sort of getting on with the task in hand, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Any tips for folk out there who may be struggling with motivation? Anything that keeps you springing your step?
I always think, if you've not done anything for ages, if you can get yourself into a routine for 2 weeks, for 2 weeks where you go, right, I'm going to run every other day, and you can sit that. By the third week, the routine becomes part of you.
Yeah.
And you will then do it more. You know what I mean? And you'll find it. It's just you've got to get into that. You've got to give it 2 weeks. You've got to try and be really strict with yourself for 2 weeks. I think if you haven't done any, you are trying to get yourself into a routine. And now, because I've got out regular running now, so if I don't go out for a run, I mean, I'm it's alcohol free. It's not alcohol, so I'm going to probably go out for a little jog when I finish chatting to you. Just to, I won't go far because I'm probably going to do 16 miles tomorrow on the fell, but I just go out for a little 3 mile poodle on the run, just because I've not really, I've only walked the dogs, and I just feel I need to do something. And that's the point. It's because I go out regularly. Yeah, I feel like I need to go out, and if I don't go out, I do get a bit restless. And that's the best tip I can give is, if you don't go out regularly, just try and strict yourself for 2 weeks where you do, and then you will find it will become a routine.
I think there's even some research on that. This 3 week, like you said, the third week, I'm sure that's how you form habits. I've heard that maybe on other podcasts. So this 3 week period, if you can keep something consistent for 3 weeks, then mentally, I think you've reinforced this as a habit as opposed to something that you're kind of forcing yourself to do.
Yeah. The thing is with that as well, if you want to start, you want to try and do that, you've got to have an understanding family around you as well.
Oh, wow.
Because it's so time consuming, and it's, if they don't join in with you, or childcare, so you both can't go out together. Yeah. When you're doing one thing, somebody has to take the hit, don't they? So, and if you don't have an understanding partner or understanding family, that it's really hard.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm so fortunate. I run commute to get 2 runs in a day. Excuse me. And I've got a dog, and the dog loves to run. But the weekends, especially at the moment, going over to the lakes and doing a 8-hour day on the fells. Yeah, you need an understanding partner.
Yeah, you do. And I'm very lucky that my partner is, and she gets it. And also, it also helps my mental health as well, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't like to, if I was injured and I couldn't get out and do something, I'd be a nightmare. I know I would. It doesn't bear thinking about it, actually, to be honest.
No, I don't like to dwell on it. Don't like to dwell on it too much. I'm going around. It seems to be my favourite subject at the moment. You've kindly offered to help me on leg 2, so thank you very much for that. Any tips for me on the big day?
What I would say is, you've got to enjoy it. The biggest tip I can give you is, please don't set off too fast. Yeah. The way the program's set up that you use, and you've probably used is it the White Wakeman program or whatever?
Yeah, it's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But what that program does, it puts in fudge factor. So it puts fudge factor into legs 3 and 4. So it's generous on 3 and 4. Okay. So, so you can, whatever schedule you set yourself for, for legs 1 and 2, stick by it. But even if you've lost 10 minutes on either, it's not important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just keep moving. Try not to spend too much time at your changeovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't set off too fast on leg one. Don't feel you have to do leg one in 2 hours, you know.
No.
The worst thing is you're all your adrenaline's going, you know,
Yeah.
and things like that. And the other one, which you do, I don't know what time you started on a Friday, but I think is it 10 o'clock or
11, I think.
o'clock?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. I've seen people who want to start it sort of 4 a.m, but they're going to go for sort of 22-hour schedule. And I was thinking,
Yeah.
why do that? Because you won't sleep. You think you're going to sleep, but you won't.
No.
Because your nervous energy will keep you awake.
Yeah.
So you might as well start 10 o'clock or, you know what I mean? And then hopefully you're going to finish the next, but the rest, you're only doing a leg and a half in the dark.
Yeah.
And the rest is all in daylight. Do you know what I mean? I just don't. When people say, "Oh, well, I want to do leg 5 because it's an easy leg in the dark," I'm just in my head. I just think, but you're not gaining any sleep. Really.
Oh, you've really got to play to your strengths, and you say leg 5 in the dark. I don't know. You've got to really look like the calculator. It gives you all the advised times to start based on when you are your predicted time or your hopeful time anyway. So I crunch the numbers. Luckily, age, there's a bit of maturity with age. I don't think I'm going to go kind of racing over Fitzpark at 6-minute mile. I'm going to do any of that.
Well, I'm just, but it's just, I've been with so many people and they set off at leg 1 and I'm going, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's just silly.
Yeah.
You can get up to Skiddaw, you know, if you get up in Skiddaw in 80, you know, for a 22-hour schedule, you get up to Skiddaw in 80 odd minutes. That's perfectly fine. Do you know what I mean? And you don't have, and to get that, to be honest, you don't have to bust a gut. You know, you can, you have a nice jog across the park. You know, as soon as you get onto, you start climbing around Loughrig, you can sort of, even though it's not massively steep, you can still walk with a purpose up there. You don't have to, run every second until you get to Jenkins Hill. You just don't have to. You know, it's just, you'd be surprised how much you can walk on leg 1, and you know, and all you're doing then is you're being economical. That's the point. You know, ready for, you know, because leg 2 is really where you really start kicking in anyway. You know, especially when you descend. You know, you descend off Hallsfell. You've got that bugger of a climb up Cloughhead. Yeah. And then you've got that bugger of a climb coming down off Dollywagon. You know what I mean? And then
Fairfield as well.
Whichever way you go up to Fairfield and then back down it. And then that coming off Seat Sandal.
Do you know what I mean? Oh, you're smashing your legs up there.
All that quads, you come off that and your quads are smashed. And all you can see as you're coming off Seat Sandal is the climb up Steel Fell.
Steel Fell, yeah.
You know, you're just looking at it as you're coming down going, you know, you got that. You just have that sort of feeling, don't you? Because, there's just the first 2 legs you just need to be kind of. That's why I always say you need to be kind to yourself for the first 2 legs, and then if you need to put the work in, then you start doing over 3 and 4. Right. 5, you just got 3 peaks to do. And
if you're at Honester Pass and you've got the time, 5 should be fun, really. Hopefully. What's your favourite leg?
Leg for scenery, leg 4 by far. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just the best leg ever. You know, everything's nice what you see up there. You know, even climbing up Barra, it looks a bloody lump when you're coming off Wasdale, or when you're coming into Wasdale. But you know, once you're on it, you're on it. And then when you come off there, it's just beautiful. All the peaks you see, they're all leg 4 by far.
Leg 4 is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's like you're in a different world, really, when you get there.
You get the right weather for leg. I know 9 times out of 10, most people see that in good daylight. You know, it's always like late afternoon or you know, early afternoon. It's just, you know, other than the fact that Wasdale's just the worst place to drive to in the world for the people who support it. Just leg 4 by far. So, in fact, when I'm supporting you, I'm doing a leg 4 support later on.
That's right, yeah. My goodness me.
But I'll be parking in Honiston. I'll run across because I'm not bloody driving to Wasdale, I can tell you that.
It's easy. I've done that so many times. Go to Honiston, run across. It's
only 6 miles across, and you don't, you know, you just you don't have to run it really. You just sort of run the flat bit, and it's just a nice jaunt across.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Nutrition. Do you follow any kind of plans for nutrition, eating every 20 minutes, this and that, or are you pretty relaxed?
No, nutrition is important, and we're all different. That's the thing. That's the one thing people, when they're asking for advice, just remember we are all different.
Yeah.
But what I find works for me is I'm not a big eater, so I'm not one of the people that I know people trying to shovel food in my mouth every 20 minutes. I would just get frustrated with that. That's not how I'm a very sparse eater when I'm running.
All right.
I just drink. I like drink. I'm a very sparse. If I do feel anything, I'll have a flapjack, or I'll have a chai charge, which I do. I do use them a lot. But what I live off really is mountain fuel, morning fuel.
Yeah,
because it's like a milkshake, and I'll be honest, that is my go-to thing really for. I've worked it out. If I can have 500 ml of that in milk, or one of them sachets, in 500 ml of milk, I can get between 15 and 20 miles on that.
Oh wow, okay, brilliant.
So if I can get one every sort of 20 miles, or every 50 miles is better. Yeah, I can virtually live off that. And on the Hard Moors 160, between that and pot noodles, that's where I lived off. So, and but we're all different.
I think you make a good point. Everyone's different.
And the other thing is, what works one time, I did it once. I did the spine, and I got through one leg, and I got crumpets with Nutella on it, and I went, "Oh, this is brilliant." You know what I mean? I just went down the treat. So Lucy, when I got to the next checkpoint, she had some more for me. She went, "Hey," and I went, like, it's like she just offered me dog poo. It was horrible. You know what I mean? So. Your body just changed, what your stomach wants as you go through. It's just.
It is funny. I remember almost 110 thinking beforehand, giving my wife my menu of choice, and in the boot of the car, all I wanted to eat was rice pudding, and it's not what I thought.
But I don't even like rice pudding. Yeah. Honestly, I remember it from as a kid at school. I hate rice pudding. And when you're on the Leyland 100 in Braithwaite, they serve you rice pudding, don't they?
That's
I'd five bowls of that there because it just went down so well with a bit of jam in it. Do you know what I mean? Immediately I left there and my stomach was huge. I was like waddling out. I'd had that much rice pudding. So running to Keswick on the road was really, when you're stuffed full of food. So by the time I'd come round to Blencathra Centre, it sort of settled. I went, ooh, I'm not going to buzz then.
And you can fill up again at Blencathra then.
But white bread. If I'm going to have a sandwich, always white bread, never brown bread because that bloats you. I think white bread is all you want, and soup. But pot noodles, overdone pot noodles, so more water than you would do normally. I just find anything that's soggy, really, if I'm honest, because you must find when you're out for a while, your mouth goes dry. Yeah. Even though you could be hydrated and you are, but as soon as you put anything dry in your mouth, it just sticks in your mouth, doesn't it? Yeah. So I've had scrambled egg and beans, and that's gone down a treat. If I've been lucky enough, somebody's got a stove, and and I've had that goes down a treat as well.
It's going to be easy to eat. I remember I did the Howgales Trail Marathon, and Tim Bates from Trail Outlaws. Yeah, he mentioned something about eating fig rolls. So I bought myself a packet of fig rolls for 50p, thinking this is the cheapest race nutrition ever. And I think I hadn't even climbed the first hill, and this bloody fig roll was welded to me mouth. Yeah. It was horrible. I'm like, I'm not doing that again.
No, exactly. And, like you said, so I always work. That's why I like pot noodles, because they're wet. Yeah. And the noodles are wet, aren't they? And they're soft. And so you don't have to do a lot of chewing. If you don't want to, you don't have to do a lot of chewing. Yeah. No. You can just literally, drink it, can't you? So, that's that's why I go for pot noodles. Chicken and mushroom every time, with loads of soy sauce in it because it's quite salty.
Yeah, classic.
In it. Yeah, classic. So there's my nutritional tip.
We'll talk. We'll some kind of quick questions then, and we'll hit you first one. Favorite? I know you drink alcohol free tonight, but any tips? Any good alcohol free beer, or what's your favorite tipple?
Erdinger alcohol free. It's absolutely. Do you know what? It tastes nice anyway.
It's a sports drink, wasn't it? It's isotonic.
Yeah, it says isotonic on it, and honest to God, there's always loads in the fridge, always. Because I drink a lot of tea. I love tea. Yeah, I'm a big tea drinker, but I get teed out. So after I've had like 2 pints of tea during the day, I'm not big on pop, and I'm not big on dilute, and I'm not big on orange juice. So if I don't want to have an alcohol-free night, then I'll be. At Erdinger every time. But yeah, I like it. Life's too short. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? And I love running, and I love the reason I love doing what I do is because it means generally I can eat and drink what I want to.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because I love my food as well. So, you know, yeah, I like. There's nothing, you know, when you meet the lads and we go out. I'm great. I can't wait for the pubs to open properly next week.
Yes.
Because when we finish running on a Tuesday, we go for a pint. We go for a pint in the pub,
yeah.
and it's nice. It's sociable. Just have a pint, you have a chat. We take the mick out of each other, whatever, and then, you know, it's just, yeah, it's nice.
We used to call our runs on a thirsty Thursday, but that hasn't happened for 15 months.
Well, fingers crossed when we get back to that, aren't we? And real ale as well. It's, you know, it's not bad for you. You know, a pint is not going to kill you. You know,
no, it's not.
You know, real ale as well. It's, you know, it's generally they make it with good ingredients, and especially all these microbreweries and things that are out now. Yeah. So, you know, and it's quite. There is, other than if you could take the alcohol, it is quite nutritional. You know, there is something in there. It's just if you have more than 2 pints, isn't it?
I've read a book, the endurance diet or something, and yeah, if you have one good alcohol, like you say, a real ale or something, or a wine, it's not bad. They don't frown upon it. It's when one turns into 4 or 5 that you start kind of with the negatives. Bucket list race. Anything you haven't done that you think I'd really like to do that?
There's a very long, every day I'm adding something to it. It's hard, isn't it? Because I'm trying to look for challenges, things that, you know, would make me want to do it. You know, I mean, I like the idea of that backyard run, you know, obviously the Barclays. I love the idea of having to go at it, you know. In reality, would I feel the same way? I don't know, but there's just too many good races out there, you know. I mean, I'm doing one of my bucket list races in September, which is the Tour de Gion, but I have to do that because they've got a big brother, which is 450k, called the Tour de Glacier. And that's what I really want to do. I really want to do that, but you can't do that unless you've done the Tour de Gion. So, and the other thing is, without, you know, I've got to be honest with myself. Like I said, I'm 54. I'm not getting any younger.
No.
So, you know, I've got to try and get these things in while I'm still moving well, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm a few years behind you, but yeah, the clock is not on our side for moving well.
It's not. So, but I don't know. There's too many good races out there, you know. There is. There's just, you could go to Western State and, you know, and Rock, you know, all them. And they look all really, really good. They do. Yeah. But there's plenty of nice ones in the UK as well.
One thing with this podcast, it's really opened my eyes to what the Centurion running guys are doing down there. So yeah, maybe I'd venture down there eventually to see what all that's about. I enjoy my time. I used to live down south, so any excuse to go down there again, I'm quite happy to do.
I mean, there's some great races in Wales as well. I mean, Wales has got loads to offer. You know, bloody hell. You know, you look at your Paddy Buckley round. That's, you know, the terrain. It's a lot more. It's a lot harsher than the lakes, to be fair. You know, and that's small space that they've got. It's a lot harsher than the lakes. Really, it's harder running, I think.
But
and then there's all Scotland. Bloody hell, you know, you got all the Scotland up there, and there's, you know, there's just too many good races to sort of pinpoint and go, right, I really want to do this. You know. Every day somebody goes, have you heard about this race? Go, you know. I mean, so you just go on, don't you?
Last book that you listened to or read that you enjoyed? It doesn't have to be the last book you read.
Well, the one I read and I really enjoyed was the Thursday Murder Club. I'm a sucker for detective crime things. So it's read by the guy who does Pointless, Richard Osmari.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It was really good. Really enjoyed it. It's called the Thursday Murder Club. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
And Netflix, I always like asking people what they've kind of binged on, but I appreciate some people don't really sit and watch TV. But anything you enjoyed?
That's a vice of mine. I could quite sit and watch. I know Lucy hates me for it because I love anything that's crap American detective things. I can watch anything. Obviously, Line of Duty I quite enjoy, but there's loads of stuff that I can quite happily mindlessly, you know, lose time to. Even things I've seen before, like The Mentalist or, you know, Bones, or, you know, it's just, I can just sit there and put it on and go. You know, it's just zoning out, isn't it? You know, I love Blue Bloods. I love The Rookie. You know, all that sort of stuff. So there's a long list of stuff.
Oldest bit of kit? Is that
Well, I'm just trying to think. I've got to tell you what I have got, and it's not. I don't know how old it is. I've got an arm bag, little front pouch.
Okay, yeah.
I always try and find ways so attached to burger, attached to my rig.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I always try and find that.
I think I saw that on you actually for the Wainwright attempt. I'm sure you had some big.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I did it on because it's just great for if she wants food. You can just throw loads of stuff in it.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's just finding ways to attach it to the other kit I've got. I don't know. Anything Paramo, to be fair, that Paramo's always my go-to.
Yeah,
for crap weather, Paramo's always my go-to. It's just a bit too warm in the summer, but yeah. And string vests, I've just moved into string vests, which I find really good as well.
All right, interesting.
I look stupid running in them, and once I've decided I'm wearing my string vest and put my waterproof on the top, doesn't matter what the weather's doing, the waterproof is coming off. Because nobody needs to see me in a string vest. I can tell you that now. I was out last night running, and because I didn't know what the weather's doing, we had such torrential rain. So I put the string, it's a long sleeve thing, like string vest. And everybody else was like running up the hill and they're taking the waterproofs off. And I was melting, but I'm not taking it.
Not coming off.
No, it's staying on.
Classic.
Yeah.
Last question from me. I know you mentioned a race earlier, but what else for 2021? Anything else penciled in?
Yeah, I've got the race across Scotland in August. I've got that as a race, but the big thing, the one I'm leading up to now, which I'm hoping to go for, is in July the 9th. It's the Steve Parr round. It's all the peaks over 2,500 foot, and it's 62 of them, I think it is. And you've got 48 hours to do it in. The record stands at 42:37.
Yeah, and
I reckon I can get on to 42.
And what time of year are you hoping to do that, sorry?
I'm doing that July the 9th is my penciled in point at the moment. And that, I don't think that's ring fence, so I don't think it's going to change. It's just finding out. I'm going through working at it's not like the Bob Graham where there's so much information that you can garner and speak to people. There's only about 6 people have completed. So it's really hard when you're working out your schedule to work out, your timings. You can't give timings to each peak.
No.
I just can't do it. But I can sort of give rough estimates to the checkpoints, or the road crossings. So, but even then, when you get the people to support you, they just need to be aware that they need to be a bit flexible.
Yeah.
To think I might be a bit earlier or I might be a bit.
And
later.
how would you ratify that? Is it the same as the Bob Graham round? You'd have a tracker and.
Yeah, you have a tracker and then you basically, I'll use my Strava to every time I've hit a peak, I'll just do that. I just think you basically ratify it that way. I think just the fact that you've got your Garmin trace, or your Strava trace will do the job. And you don't
have to, I know with Bob Graham also, you kind of have to register your interest. Is there that kind of thing too?
No, there's nothing like that on the Steve Parr. It's pretty much, it's on the GoFar website, if you look on there, it's mentioned. Yeah. I just think, if you want to do something in the lakes and people have been doing double Bob Grahams, and I just think it's a bit more imaginative than that. I'm not knocking people who've done double Bob Grahams because it's a hell of an achievement. It's great. Yeah. But I think
if there's something else to do it. Yeah.
I think there's something a bit, that will be as challenging, if not a bit more. Because the problem with the Steve Parr round is, like the Bob Graham now, bloody hell, I did mine in 2015. And I remember going up Clough Head and it was really vague, the path going up Clough Head. Now you can see where it sits. and do you know what I mean? And that's the point, that they're coming off Skiddaw down into down into the valley off Skiddaw. That's a proper motorway now. Do you know what I mean? Where the Steve Parr round,
still pretty remote.
There's still vague bits, there's still bits. I mean, why would you want to run from Glamora to High Rise? Just why would you? You just wouldn't want to do it. You drop down that massive big valley and go on the other side. So there's no path there. So So I find it, like, remember I said about before about the challenge aspect. Yeah. This is a challenge, you know what I mean? Something you can really, have a good go at. And with the record being where it is, it gives you somewhere where you can aim. Yeah. I mean, admittedly, there's a guy I've heard Andy Perry's going to have a go, and he's rapid. So he does it before me. He'll, if everything goes right, he'll smash the record because he's that type of runner. But, at the moment, it's within my, I think it's within my abilities. Yeah. Like everything, the alignment of the planets,
the weather.
Sacrifice your firstborn to whichever god you're going to do. It's the legs, isn't it? And especially when you're going out for anything over 24 hours.
Yeah.
You're in the lap of the gods, aren't you?
Oh wow, yeah, definitely. Well,
and once you pick your date as well, it's the other downside. You pick your date, and you're so far out. The weather does whatever the weather does, doesn't it?
I wish that's the only thing with the Bob Graham round is, a lot of people invested time and effort to come and help you, and especially for when I've already tried it once and failed, and I think 48 hours either direction, the weather was fantastic. Yeah, and I just wish you could be if it was a more intimate affair, if you could just go on your own and do it. I think the pressure would be greatly reduced. But all the best, Paul, from us. We'll be keeping an eye on you. Thanks for giving up your time. Quite a lot of time actually this evening.
No, sorry about me. I just ramble on, don't I?
No, it's fantastic. I think our listeners. I know when I consume a podcast, when I'm out running and listen to podcasts, it's great just to listen to people natter on. So really appreciate that. Yeah. Good luck for the rest of 21. And thanks very much.
And I look forward to seeing you for your leg too.
Yeah, what will that be then? So about 3:00 on Saturday, the 5th of May.
5th of June. Yeah, 5th of June. I'll see you there. I'll be there laughing at you.
Oh my goodness! Tell me, why have you come off Blencathra so fast?
No, the other side is if you're feeling good and you talk. As long as I always think when you're doing the Bob Gray, if you're on leg one and you're still talking comfortably all the way around leg one. Yeah. If you are a bit fast, that's fine. If you are talking comfortably all the way around, where even when you go up the hills, you're still having a bit of banter and a bit of chit chat, then that's fine. It's when I've been with people when they can't even talk, they're pushing that hard up. I'm just thinking it's just too much.
Early,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for that early on.
Yeah. So that's how I gauge it. As long as you can talk more than happily while you're doing your leg one, then you're in, you're in what's capable. Cool. And it's the same going over leg two, really. You want to be, by the time you get to leg three, you're allowed to go a bit quiet because obviously you're sort of 12 hours in by then, you know what I mean? So you mentally, you might go into yourself a little bit more by then, leg three and leg four. So, but legs one and two, you want to be still, enjoying it and not overly thinking about timings and, just getting on with the task in hand, but not pressurizing yourself at the same time.
But the good thing is when I've been doing my recce's, I've done double legs or out and backs on the legs. And say leg one and leg two, I've done that a few times. And the pace has been what I'm hoping to achieve on the day. And I've got to the bottom, the dumbbell raise. Yeah. And I'm not collapsing the heap. I think I could go up seat sandals. So I fail. Sorry, still fail, I think. That's a good place to be in. Cool.
No, I think it sounds really confident. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much. Take care. Cheers.
You as well. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening. And if you're enjoying this episode, then pop a post on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Also, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, Spotify or wherever you are tuning in from. Head over to YouTube too and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, I found it really good to have a catch up with Paul, and I really enjoyed the fact he was quite relaxed about his running as such. He, he enjoyed going out with his friends socially afterwards, having a beer. He wasn't kind of too strict on himself. And also, he said about running about 40 miles a week, which is kind of good for some of us who beat ourselves up maybe about not hitting the 90 odd, 80 odd miles a week, whatever. So, to do what Paul does on 40 odd miles a week and quite a few pints of beer a week.
I think what I'm learning more and more is this healthy approach to running is so much more sustainable and enjoyable, and getting the right balance between sessions, working hard, but enjoying it life's too short, Gary.
It is too short. I remember before lockdown, I've never really talked about this actually, but I was quite, maybe had I don't know if it was an eating disorder, but I was quite controlling over my eating. And then lockdown happened and it knocked all my routines to pot. And it just changed, and I've become a lot happier, let's say, with what I'm eating, and I'm not so kind of focused on it. And I think just, if you're there's only so much stress people can take, and however that comes at you, it's all stress basically. And I think if you just too
You're
focused
totally right.
on everything, then something's got to give eventually. So to hear people have a lot of athletes that we've listened to, Sabrina Vigier, you know, eating blondies and stuff like that. But then you'll have other athletes who literally just know every gram of what goes in their bodies. It's whatever works for them. But yeah, to be a lot more relaxed, I think, for me at least, works. What's coming up? My goodness me. Races. I've only found one race actually this week.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I haven't got anybody. I often use my clients as a bit of a cheat sheet, but it's quiet this weekend. South Downs Way 100 next weekend.
Well, you know why it's quiet? There's only one thing going on this week.
There's only one Gaza Place. You've put your tracker up on the up on the Facebook page. So if you want to track .watch Gary, what time are you going to start?
11 p.m. Friday.
Going into the night.
Yeah. But the race that I found was Scafell Sky Race. Now this sounds pretty tasty. 40k, 3,000 meters, and it starts in the Langdales, new Dungeon Gill Hotel. So that does
basically all uphill.
Yeah.
All downhill. Downhill.
There was some reports from the Scafell area over the weekend that it was very busy up in Scafell Pike. 100+ people. I can't, people do sometimes like raise their eyebrows at that, but I think, well, I'm going over there every week. I can't moan about somebody else going over there if I'm going over there too.
I have the same because I have Alpage annoyance when there's loads of people on my trail. But I'm like, Bryn's like, you don't own it.
Yeah.
It's just, you are there too.
Yeah. It's nice when, a lot of the recce's I've done earlier on, just after lockdown, it was like, literally, you might see one person all day. And that is lovely. But like I say, I can't complain if other people are doing exactly what I'm doing. My only concern is
take your litter home. Take your litter home.
And my goodness me, appreciate where you are going. That does frustrate me when I see people on the high fells in inappropriate attire. That's because if you trip and you do something silly, you're kind of calling on mountain rescue and other people. And that isn't good.
Best of luck, Gary. Best of luck. You. Be strong. You've got Katie's wise words ringing in your ear.
It's all over you, Barrow.
Keep eating.
Oh, that's not a problem for me. I think I've done all my bags. Everything's done. Leg 1, leg 2, leg 3, leg 4, leg 5.
It's there for you. Just got to put one foot in front of the other.
Lots of feet. Lots of times.
Lots of times. Stay in the moment. Stay in your box. That's what I say to a lot of people. Stay in your box.
Yes.
That's all. That's all you've got to focus on. What your feet are doing.
That's a good thing about the Bob Graham round. You do have your 5 legs, so you just focus to the next checkpoint at least, and even summit to summit. You get your Helvellyn out the way, or you get your Fairfield. There's lots of ways to break it down into. I think Katie mentioned about just getting to Ubarra. Once you've done Ubarra, it's over. And I think Gable, personally, once you do Gable, that's when you can maybe start relaxing a bit. But yeah, you just, like I say, psychologically, you get Ubarra out the way, and that's a big, big boost.
You're going to take a selfie on every summit, Katie style?
That's about 10 seconds, and you multiply that by your 40-odd summits. That's a lot of seconds. If somebody else, you know what, me personally, I won't, but if somebody's there with a phone, excuse me, that's a good way actually to witness the summit.
Take your picture.
Yeah, the photograph will be timestamped too, so you'll know all your splits with the photograph. So yeah, maybe.
Well, you got your tracker. Yeah. Just focus. Don't mess around with the pictures. Get one at the start, one at the finish. What I'm really looking forward to is you with the pasty at the finish.
The pasty and the pint. The pasty shop will be shut.
You're going to have to pre-pasty order and ask them to leave it on the doorstep.
I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. I did as usual, and that was episode 40 of Run to the Hills. I'm Gary Thwaites.
Good luck, Gary. I'm Eddie Sutton.
And let's run to the hills.